Hey, hey, hey. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. Listen, I'm so glad you're here. I am a little late today because I was up past my bedtime, which many of you know is 9:30 p.m. I had the beautiful opportunity to deliver a short keynote and moderate a panel last night for Ad Hoc Group Against Crimes, Love and Light fundraising celebration. And what I love about the new direction for Ad Hoc is that, in addition to focusing on addressing the needs of people who have been victims of violence, either because their loved one has died from homicide or because they have witnessed a homicide and need to be moved, Ad Hoc is taking a front row seat in the area of focusing on healing and justice and making sure that we don't have these issues far into the future, which is why I was proud to be there. But also yesterday, I got to be at a place called the Diastole. And if you are unaware, which I was, the word diastole is basically describing the pause between heartbeats. And when I walked into the space, from the time I entered the grounds to when I saw this beautiful blue door, everything about the space felt like a pause between heartbeats. Every little item that was there was curated for a space for you to pause. They had a Native American kiva style space, which I was not also wasn't familiar with, and it's like a stadium that's partially into the ground, and so people can sit along the sides. And at the center is like a fire pit, and so the presenter who was before me was standing at the bottom of this pit and sharing her information up. But I had an opportunity to go in there and meditate before we started, and I just couldn't help but tie a couple of things together related to what matters and what doesn't. You see, also this week I'd gotten an opportunity. I decided to do an empathy walk. I do them regularly. I go to a place that I don't know that much about to kind of walk the path of the people who have to experience it so that it can strengthen my understanding of what other people think, feel, and believe and what they're experiencing, and helping me to build my empathy muscle, stretch the range of emotions that I feel, because I don't always have the language of emotions. And anyway, I went to Transition Center, Kansas City, and if you're not familiar, it's a place where you can go after you've been released from prison to help you transition back into everyday society. So, as an example, something you might not consider is that if you've been in prison for 20 years, you may never have gone to a restaurant and them handing you the puck if they don't have any openings that's going to beep and let you know when there's availability. And that can be disorienting if you've never had that experience. And so they just help you now with conflict resolution, get a job, pack up 8 paychecks so that you are not even remote, get your driver's license, get your ID, all those things, so that you're not even remotely close to being vulnerable to going back to prison. And you would think that this space, because it used to be a prison, would feel like a prison, but they have been deliberate about the paint. They've been deliberate about the staff. Everybody's there is incredibly kind. Everything that you see is there to inspire and uplift. And when I got a chance to meet the CEO there, I think that's what her title is, she was just one of the most kind individuals I've ever met. In fact, in that moment, she was angry, like visibly angry, which was also good for me to see, because sometimes when I'm angry, I feel the need to show up with gravitas, to not display that anger, to hold it and tap it down. But what happens when you do that is that it comes out, and it often comes out in times you don't expect, in situations that don't demand it, and in ways that sometimes you also even regret. But she was angry for a good reason. She was trying to live according with the mission of, helping people to transition out of prison. And somebody had a challenging situation, and she thought it important to give this person a chance. And someone did not agree with that chance, that second chance model. And so she was angry, and angry was the appropriate emotion. So that was some good modeling for me. But the thing that the diastole place, named after the pause between heartbeats, and the transition center of Kansas City had in common is that someone had been deliberate about curating a space, making sure that every single item in the space was thoughtful so that it can create the atmosphere for good work to happen. And I was doing drastically different things in these two spaces. In one, I was just learning. And in the other, I was the teacher. But it just reminded me that while the song Nothing Even Matters is one of my favorite Lauryn Hill, D'Angelo collaborations, it's a beautiful song. The idea that nothing matters couldn't be further from the truth. All of it matters. It's one of my friends, Dr. Michael Monker, is a trauma surgeon, and he is sponsoring these bullet recovery injury clinics here in Kansas City, modeled after what's called the Brick in St. Louis. And so if you don't know, if you get shot and you don't have any like life-threatening injury, you're going to get patched up and they're going to send you home. But they generally don't like tell you what to do. They don't have any information about what your home situation is. And so if you've been shot and you go home, let's say you're shot in the leg and you're lying on the couch for a week, you might lose your ability to walk after that experience. And so what the bullet recovery does is they are thoughtful about the music, the smells, the sounds, what you experience when you walk up to someone, so that your spirit is healed just walking into the space, that the physical body is almost secondary to what you get to experience emotionally and mentally and spiritually, just walking into the space. And it was a beautiful reminder to me to be really careful about colors I choose, little trinkets that I take and I have, music I play, what I take in. And today is the fourth day of the 31-day kindness campaign. Any of you can join. It is not hard to do, but basically you are just deciding that for the next 27 days or so, that you are going to be kind, that you're going to make an intentional effort to be kind. And I don't know that I'm the person that people would just like describe as kind, that that's, like the first thought that they have. Because oftentimes people confuse kind and nice. And when people are uncomfortable, and all you have to do at times is to say something truthful, and people are uncomfortable. I know I was at a meeting here within the last week, and we were circling around an issue. And I just named the thing, the elephant that was like under the surface. And I could feel the energy in the space shift. Because making that very honest observation that is necessary sometimes to name things causes discomfort. But I can tell you that when I am in the last 3 days, as I've been intentional about being kind, that I've been able to find ways to say the truth, even in a way that doesn't necessarily result in discomfort. And that's good. That's progress. And so I invite you, I don't know if you listen to the Voodoo album or the Brown Sugar album or any of D'Angelo's music at all, but I invite you to maybe find a song, listen to a song, think about one kind act that you can do. If you don't want to do any of that, think about donating to places like Ad Hoc Group Against Crime, who are understanding that we can just live with this violence that we have. I don't know if you know that Kansas City's homicide numbers are up because domestic violence is up. People are killing folks in domestic partner relationships. I'm also honorary chair for the Imagine a Day gala for Newhouse Shelter. If you don't have the time to commit, if you don't have the personal interest in going and doing an empathy walk, consider donating just a few dollars to places like Ad Hoc Group Against Crime, to the Newhouse Shelter, to people who are recognizing. Um, Consider going with me to 2 days at the Transition Center, Kansas City. I'm going to one of their training programs that they have every first Monday and Tuesday of the month. It's going to be 16 hours of my time. Because if we are not hypocritical, as we learn more, as we build our capacity to feel what other people feel and experience, it should motivate us to do something different going forward. And I hope Raina Park Shaw won't mind me mentioning this. I did not ask her, but I didn't know her story about how she became a politician. She was just telling me that she just loves to do the work and she didn't find her way to politics the way most people do. And I was like, what you talking about? I don't know how y'all do this political thing, because I can't stand for people to talk. People just will lie, say whatever. And she told me a story about how she just asked God to tell her what she should be doing. She had gone through the purpose-driven life a couple times and didn't have an answer. And she said she never said yes to political service. She just ended up being in spaces where people were telling her to run, and it was almost like the universe conspired to get her to run. And I just want to just say to you, this idea that incremental change is not enough, I want to push on that, because if you study the idea of marginal gains, you'll find yourself face to face with a study done by the British cycling team, who had not won, or they had only one gold medal in 100 years. But they made an effort to decide that they were going to change by 1% every day, that they were going to improve by 1% every day, that they were going to look at the smallest things to see what would potentially move the needle. And at the Sydney Games in Australia, you know me well, know the significance of that, they took home 70% of the gold medals that year. 3 years later, after deciding that they were going to focus on the little things, that it is not necessarily this massive deconstruction, right? And the engineer in me can't help but think about this visual. People say that you build a house on a faulty foundation, the house will never stand. But what engineers have been known to do, especially for historical pieces, is lift the house up off of the foundation, rebuild the foundation, and then sit down the good parts of the house back on its foundation once it has been repaired. And I wonder what it would look like if a group of well-meaning people decided that we were going to be the change that we desire to see. And I intend over these next 27 days of the 31 days of kindness to try that. I believe with everything in me that what we are seeing now in terms of vitriol and hatred and injustice has been made possible by really small, incremental pieces of change over 40, 50 years, if not more. And so what does it look like to do that for the positive? What does it look like every day to go out and pull a weed? What does it look like every day to go out and Plant a seed. Yeah. I hope you forgive me for being slightly tardy, later than usual today. But I need my 8 hours of sleep, and when I don't get it, I feel like I'm not my best self. Dr. Marge, my mentee, where are we going tonight? I think I want to join you as your date wherever you're going tonight. That was the idea that I had when I woke up today. And I meant to send you a text to ask you where we're going tonight and if I can join you as your plus one if you don't have one. Whatever it is you were doing, I don't even know if you were in my lovely town. But send me a note and let me know. I'm going to take me a nap in the middle of the day so I can hang out with you all night. Listen, y'all. Join me for the kindness campaign. If you want to know more about it, you can go to Small Changes Big Shifts, smallchangesbigshifts.com, and join the 31 Days of Kindness campaign. If you join in, even on the last day, I think it's worth you having been there. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. We got work to do.